probably to wrap it up by 6:55. I know the next show on tonight. So
I mean, 7:55.
7:50 maybe. I mean 6:50. Yes, 7:50. Should be falling with it.
Right. Oh, man.
Come on, I'll listen to that for the next break.
You say you're red? I thought you were yellow.
I don't know, whatever this one is, because I think yellow got changed. You ready?
You said red, right?
Yeah, this one. You did right. You did it.
Sold Out Sports. You're listening to AUMA Radio.
AUMA Radio, Sold Out Sports. This is Iris. Bridget is with me. For some reason, Golden State is too legit to quit.
Too legit, huh?
Yeah, apparently.
It's too legit.
It's too legit to quit. I had to put some hammer on there, you know what I mean, for the Oakland folks out there. This is AUMA Radio, Sold Out Sports. I'm Iron, back from New York, back in Atlanta, in the city.
Back in the A.
Yeah, next to me is the lovely Bridget, who has held the fort down very graciously, might I add, in my absence, and
It's no problem.
you
It's
know,
no problem.
I really appreciate
Had to
that.
hold, shelter myself for a day or two.
Right, had the whole building to yourself. So we're gonna jump right into it. As everyone knows who hasn't seen it, unless you were living in a cave or something, last night on TNT, might I add, TNT's highest rated Western Conference game ever. The Golden State Warriors won after, what was it, 120 or 108, something like that. They pulled off at the end of the game, and it was a huge game for Golden State. Golden State was on the ropes. They were looking at a 3-1 deficit, and now it's 3-2, and they are going back to OKC.
Well, they're going to lose.
No comeback for you. They are going to just simple cut and dry as that. They're going to lose. Golden State.
It's not going back to the Bay Area. They stole game one. They looked terrible the whole time they were there. The Warriors look completely average when they're in OKC. I don't know if there's something in the building. I'm going to tell you my conspiracy.
Okay.
This is Conspiracy Bridget.
I love conspiracy theories.
You like Conspiracy Bridget.
Love
Conspiracy
'em.
Bridget says that the fans got a hold to the hotel. They know where the Warriors are staying. And they keep making noise all night long because those guys look tired, like they ain't getting no sleep, they ain't getting no rest. They don't look rested, did
Well, I hope that if they are in OKC, I hope they aren't at the haunted hotel out there in Oklahoma City. For those who don't know, there's a hotel that a lot of media members and sports teams, NBA teams especially, sometimes go and stay. And as legend has it, there was some guy who was like a rich dude, and he had a wife, and he messed around and got one of the I guess the help pregnant, and he was hiding her in the attic so people wouldn't find out that he had been sleeping around with his wife or whatnot. And according to the legend is that the girl kind of went crazy in the attic, and she jumped out of the window and killed herself, committed suicide or whatever. So that OKC hotel is known as haunted. I hear about it often from various media members who've stayed in that hotel in Oklahoma City. So
So
let's
they're
just
staying at Poltergeist Hotel.
yeah. So let's just hope for Golden State's sake they're not staying at the infamous.
Wherever they've been sleeping, they need to
Haunted
change
hotel.
something. They need to change a hotel. They need to change a bus. They need to change shorts. They need to change shoes, underwear. I don't know what they need to change, but they need to change something. Otherwise, it's over.
Now, I want to put this thing on, take on it too as well. You heard about how, after Golden State suffered their loss and the series went up to 3-1, all of a sudden, we heard the narrative that Steph Curry was hurt. Steph Curry was so hurt. He was just hurt. He just doesn't look like the same Steph Curry.
No, he was hurt, but he wasn't so hurt to put that hurting on the previous team that they were going up.
Exactly, and miraculously, he must have healed last night.
Everybody hurt though, but everybody hurt.
Yeah, everybody's hurt by this time.
We should have had that
Ross and
audio.
June, exactly. Everybody's hurt. So, Golden State's now looking at 3-2, and I think that it's more of an indication of how good a coach Billy Donovan is
Yes.
than it is Golden State's not, doing their part. They don't look like the same, Steph Curry and this, that, and the third. I don't think it's any of that. I think Golden State, if you watch the game 4, where OKC went up 3-1, they were chasing those kids all over the court. They wouldn't allow Steph Curry, they wouldn't allow Klay Thompson to get in their sweet spots. They were making them drive to the basket, almost every time they would get the ball. And you could just see how much OKC were swarming as a defensive unit. And then on top of that, it wasn't ISO ball with Russell Westbrook on one side taking 20 shots and Kevin Durant taking 20 shots on the other side, which just so happens to flip-flop the very next game, because last night, I believe, I looked at the stats, it looked, I think it was 23 for 58 combined for Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. And you can't shoot like that, They need more contributing from Deion Waiters, Serge Ibaka, Andre Roberson had a terrible game last night.
But the narrative coming out is basically the role players don't play well on the road.
Yeah, and it's really the obvious, that we've seen.
Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant, they play well. They're consistent.
Yeah, they're superstars. They're going to play great everywhere.
But they need their role players
Right.
to really contribute.
Right. And I think Saturday night we're going to see OKC get back to what we've seen on Game 4. Everybody's talking about Kevin Durant so much, but what I like is how much Russell Westbrook has taken over and just elevated himself to that new type of level superstar, to the likes that most of us have not seen before. And what I really like about it is that he reminds me of that Kobe Bryant killer instinct where, he was in Game 4 and he was just banging on the floor, snarling and, bumping into Steph Curry and pushing him off of him. It was just,
This Steph Curry versus Russell Westbrook matchup is kind of like a sub-story within the game.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I was watching the game and I was like, why is Steph Curry defending Russell Westbrook?
And that's
Russell Westbrook can do whatever he wants.
Exactly, and it was funny because even last night, even in the face of a loss, Russell Westbrook was asked a terrible question. I don't know what journalism school this person came from who asked him the question, because one thing in media that you aren't supposed to do with celebrities, athletes, whomever, is ask yes or no questions, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to get a yes or no answer. No story, nothing to write down for your deadline at midnight. Bad move media-wise. You don't do that. And she asked, Russell Westbrook about, if he thinks that Steph Curry is a underrated defender, and you just seen him kind of mock the question and just
He didn't even answer.
Yeah, the sheer idea of it was
KD
just
answered.
out of control to him, and he just put that smile on and kind of laughed it off or whatever. And I thought that was hilarious, and a lot of people were mad about it, but this is what I want in my sports. I want
Chaos.
I want flippant comments. I
You
want,
want chaos.
hey, this guy sucks. I mean, he can't guard me. I want to hear that in my basketball. I don't want to hear all this, hey, let's go to the club later. Let's
Draymond will give you plenty of that.
Oh yeah, Draymond definitely give you that. Steven Adams will give you that with the, fast little monkeys chasing me around comments. So, and
We're gonna talk a little bit more about that because I got a little story later on in the show, on the show run.
Right.
Because I want to talk to you about what's coming up in
Oh, yeah.
2017.
Oh, yeah.
Why this matchup is playing out the way that it is.
We're actually watching the NBA Finals right now. In the last week of May, we're watching the NBA Finals because we could talk about Toronto and Cleveland, but next story. Around 10 o'clock tonight, we'll see LeBron put his foot in the throat of Toronto.
Well, they can take it as the narrative will be that Cleveland is the more experienced team. Toronto is young. They got room to grow. This is good for them. What can Toronto get out of this besides just a learning experience? Do they learn anything? What about
They learned they need a backup point guard. I'll tell you that much. I don't know what it is, but I forgot the kid's name. Corey Joseph, that's his name. Every time he seems to get on the court, it's bad shot after bad shot after bad shot, turnover. You can't have that. And then Kyle Lowry can either blow up for 40 or 30 points or just completely, flail out of the game. It's not. I don't know what's wrong with Toronto. I think it's because they haven't been here before. There's an enormous amount of pressure on them to be successful, and
but I think
take it to that next level. And as far as the narrative that Cleveland is the more experienced team, that's not really so much true. Kevin Love got hurt last year. Kyrie Irving got hurt last year. The Cavs basically limped into the finals, which is, I'm not giving them any excuses for getting, the doors blown off them by Golden State like they did. But at the same time, they're not, the pinnacle of experience when it comes to the playoffs and playoff runs. LeBron James now is a different story, but the rest of that team, not so much.
But I think Toronto with Biyombo gave them a good lift.
Oh yeah.
Biyombo he's a nice piece.
Biyombo is going to make $20 million come second week of July. It may be the first couple days of free agency. Biyombo is going to make $20 million. And before everybody starts getting mad and says, oh, well, these guys ain't worth max contracts. I can't stress this enough. People out there in Facebook land, Facebook Live on AUMA Radio, people on Twitter, people anywhere that can hear my voice, understand the salary cap is going to $90 million. You are not going to tell these kids that they cannot make max money. It's not going to happen. There are too many teams that are willing to jump. And quick, before we, segue and, bring this thing full circle later on, 21 out of the 30 NBA teams have enough money for a max contract. Keep that in mind before you say, oh, Al Horford isn't worth a max contract. Biyombo's not worth a max contract. Hassan Whiteside should not get max money. There are 21 teams in the NBA who can make a max contract pitch at a free agent this summer. So you cannot, by any means necessary, logically explain why there won't be a player, of subpar standards that we're used to that was going to get max money. They're going to get max money. Get over it.
A lot of money is going to be spent this summer.
Right.
Because as we will tease later on in the show, there are a lot of free agents. There's some big time free agents that will be on the market.
Yeah, everybody's going to get paid.
Everybody's going to get paid.
We're watching Biyombo right now.
Ridiculous money.
Right. We're watching Biyombo right now have the greatest 2-week run of his NBA career. Biyombo's been in the league for about 4 or 5 years strong now, and he's going to make $20 million. He's going to make $20 million this summer for, a couple months' work. Not even a couple months, a couple weeks' work.
So what about LeBron, though? Is LeBron going to stay in Cleveland? That's the rumor is that he, if once whatever happens, I don't know if it's going to end up in a championship or if it's just going to end up in another appearance. Is LeBron staying in Cleveland?
I have I'll say actually 3 theories of why LeBron could actually, leave Cleveland. Although it would not be the greatest thing to do, I would not by any means necessary suggest that he should leave. But I think he will, and I'm going to tell you as soon as we come back from this break.
The top of the top, no need for talking a lot. Bishop Lamont, they rage like it's rocking the spot. Nah, shit, we just rocking the spot. Masterminds know the pros and the consequences, stacking the knot. We got a vision for a new transition. We in position to carry on tradition. You cooking crack in the kitchen. You cooking crack in the kitchen. Shoveling crumbs in the scheme of things. Honorable mentions. Not these motherfuckers out of commission. On television, on broadband, on sound scan. Bounce to the kick. Yeah, I like it when she gargle and spit. Oh my lord, they perform like a porn on some marvelous shit. In the bed with superhead. Glory of a legs. Beat it black, beat it blue, beat it red. Nah, it was said by a wise man. Everything's eventual, partner. Don't let your struggle turn you into a monster. We got to double back, expose the imposters. Make them living disappear like Hopper. They ain't got nothing to offer. Sammy Davis, Dean, Frank Sinatra. Rag back, that's the LA way. The Phantom Platinum Gray. I heard Exhibit got killed by some Mexicans. With a 40-ounce bottle, he never rapping again. It's fuck you, big Los Angeles Times. 95% artificial, the other pop shine. Back with the crime. All these niggas standing in line like I'm a stand there and blow against the raggedy rhymes.
No rehab, I'm like Amy Winehouse. Rehab in Vegas, hard rock and ride out. Rehab like Lindsay Lohan. Keep us no money, they drinking blow mans. No man, no man. Not that coke. I'm talking about whites and get that blood flowing. Skins, I keep it out to a throat. Block on them folks, I will walk on a moat. Puerto Rican, they parade, I do the block on the float. Grew up in Watts with blocks full of dope. The cops full of issues, so it stops on your hope. My niggas slang 80, so you dare win. Use a cell phone, nigga, this is kerosene. Okay, see yours in the same day. I spit triple OG like my brain is gray. Smack your laugh and tapping, nigga, rapping wacky. Not impressed with black khakis, I bump like back acne. Yeah, I'm chopping heads, digging bow down. Cause when I hit you with the axe, ain't no boom, chicka, round, round. Cool, get ready for war, ready to rap, you ready to talk. I keep tunes, I'm cool, got a couple of matches. Heavy with clocks and ready to rock, so be cool, don't run your mouth. Just get bust till the drum run out. I act a fool, yeah, we blessed to track.
Bishop Lamont.
Back and the rest is black.
Featuring Glasses Malone, Civic, Rapcast.
Burning the reddish from the chest to the scene. You know it's not the card, you know it's not my scheme. I know they it was the thing with the light on the top. Yeah, they call that the beam. Hit you right on the spot. Shot, guaranteed to put you right in the pot. Oh, shit,
I got you, Kevin Reed. Appreciate you, homie.
I'm hoping we crack. And Mark who got a problem with Mac. I'm getting
Come back.
problem with Wayne.
I know that free agents, two-time free agents comes out. That's why I got real. We got real over that free agent money. Especially the Brady and MVP Russell, like, I got it just no doubt. And right underneath that, you got some of the rest of it. Look at the bottom, here's our here's the guys that are going to affect the heart. Shorter at Millsap, and I'm shorter at 9, shorter at 11. It's restricted. See Chris Paul, and you got some Lakers and Chris Paul. This is somebody I think that he's going to get some big money. When you go back, after 7 for 1 cent, he'll be back. And Chris Paul, he get older. And Danilo, he's a good player, but he still gets some money. Yeah, so we can talk about that. And then we can transition into football.
Y'all follow Bishop Lamont on Twitter. That boy nasty.
Bust till the drum run out. I act a fool. Yeah, we blessed to track. The West is black and the rest is black.
Cheers, nigga. Rest you motherfuckers is wet. You know you is, nigga. West Coast, motherfucker. Anything about anyway, my name is Bishop Lamont, and I ain't getting rap on this shit. This nigga know how to kill shit, nigga love. I just be kicking dead bodies. And you lucky I didn't get crooked on this shit, nigga. I would've got crooked, nigga. It would've been real bad for you, still ass nigga. So you better be real cool, nigga. Be cool, nigga. Now who cares?
Yeah.
Use those clips.
Rolling with the matching bag as long as it's designer tag. She won't even wear that shit if ain't nobody never check. Ferragamo, I ain't never heard of that. And judging by the cash, shawty, you got plans to share, shawty. How could you be broke with $1,000 bag? But y'all always get some feet, booty pictures on the ground, shawty.
Knew it. I had to comment on the page. Super white. I didn't know it. They said it's still a negotiation.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still in negotiation, but they in negotiation for nothing. They don't do their best to try to wait it out 2 years until it gets so old. They don't want it. They just say, Canelo wants it. Illinois don't want it.
Illinois definitely don't want it.
Canelo wants something. I hope you can see it.
Oh no, Canelo ain't scared. They
Canelo
ain't
ain't scared. That's what Illinois don't want to lose his gold.
Yeah, he's super scared.
They don't want to lose his gold. Just take it back to the top. Well, at least until his cousin, his nephew cousin.
Right. Misty Family, Label Girl. Shout out to ATL Hitmakers. That's Atlanta Hitmakers. My boy Willie Millionaire. Keep dropping my phone.
I can buy that for myself. I don't need you for your money. I get plenty checks. $1,500 shoes. You in my Jimmy Choos. Wash my car and gas it up. Yeah, that I'll let you do. I'm the baddest and I rock the baddest. They shopping and sex. Now you crying cause you boy want your credit to the max. Been a couple hundred. Been a couple racks. Because I love you and you know you want me bad. I want Louis, I want Prada, I want Fendi, some Chanel, some Versace, Ferragamo in my bag, some Chanel, some Rebanos, Michael Kors, give me more. Alexander, yeah, me queen, throw it all up in my bag. I want bag, I want Louis, I want Prada, I want Fendi, some Chanel, some Versace, Ferragamo in my bag, some Chanel,
That's gonna work.
Michael Kors, give me more. Alexander, yeah, me queen, throw it all up in my bag. I want bag, I want Louis, I want Prada, I want Fendi, some Chanel, some Versace, Ferragamo in my bag, some Chanel, some Rebanos, Michael Kors, give me more. Alexander, yeah, me queen, throw it all up in my bag. I want bag, I want Louis, I want Prada, I want Fendi, some Chanel, some Versace, Ferragamo in my bag, some Chanel, some Rebanos, Michael Kors, give me more. Alexander, yeah, me queen, throw it all up in my bag, in my bag, in my bag, in my bag.
Sold Out Sports. You are listening to AUMA Radio.
Sorry.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us on Facebook Live. Shout out to all of our friends who are helping us hold it down, supporting us on Facebook Live. We love you all. Welcome back to AUMA Radio, www.aumaradio.com. Hit us up on Twitter, Facebook. You can also call in 678-408-0349.
Yep. Also on TuneIn Radio, so you can hear us on TuneIn Radio.
Okay.
So get the app.
Get the app.
We on there.
Download it.
I'm a tune-in radio whore. I will say, like, very quickly, I love tune-in radio app. So it's, it's very convenient. So whenever you want to listen to us, we're on tune-in radio. You can listen to us while you drive.
All right.
So
Definitely.
before we went to break, we were talking about the whole LeBron James and possibly leaving Cleveland if he is
Again?
embarrassed on the in the NBA Finals. Because let's face it, Toronto's going to go down tonight. Toronto.
Yeah.
is going
No
to
hope.
lose. So I was saying that there is a possibility. I think it would be a terrible move if Bron left Cleveland. I'll be the first one to say that. However, Cleveland does have this little pipe dream about putting a batch of super friends together, that being Chris Paul, Carmelo Anthony, things of that nature. That, remember, I think it was about a month ago, he made the little comment, and, we have seen him partying on boats and going down there to work out Dwayne Wade and those guys.
You want another episode of Conspiracy Bridget?
Let's go! It's Conspiracy Bridget Day! Today on Sold Out Sports. I am with
Conspiracy
it.
Bridget.
What is your new conspiracy?
That a certain friend, best friend of LeBron James, who will be coming up to be a free agent very soon,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder will he try to convince Mr. Gibson to do a trade for one Kyrie Irving over his buddy. Which buddy would that be?
CP3?
Maybe.
Oh.
Who has the option to opt out of his contract coming up in next year.
Exactly. And I think if in the event that LeBron doesn't leave Cleveland, plus, LeBron is basically the coach and GM of this franchise.
Yes.
He's the only person that
Tell
has
the
this
truth.
type of power. He gets anybody that he wants to on the team. I think it is not far-fetched that LeBron could, get Kyrie Irving traded and get Chris Paul
In the house.
into the Clippers. But the
Which
thing
would
is,
be counterintuitive because who's the younger, more player with
it
more
would
potential?
be Kyrie Irving, which makes me beg to wonder: are the Clippers willing to make said trade and deal perhaps one of their,
Nice upcoming young pieces.
yeah, because it's I don't think
Who is kind of injury
And
prone,
I
but
don't-
he's still a good piece.
exactly, and I don't think Kyrie for CP3 will work straight up. I don't think that the Clippers would be willing, to do that because Kyrie does have a injury history of sorts, and in his own right, Chris Paul does too. But
But you got a possible future Hall of Famer
yeah,
versus a young up and coming guard who, I don't know. Sometimes I feel LeBron gets a little bit frustrated with
yeah, and I
his
think
level of with his efforts.
I think
sometimes.
LeBron gets frustrated with a lot of them, but I think that the best thing to do for either side, the Clippers as well as the Cavaliers, I think that Kevin Love got to go.
Really?
I don't think that this Cleveland team can win a championship with LeBron in Cleveland with Kevin Love as the power forward. It doesn't work. I think Kevin Love.
Who you gonna get? People always say trade. Who
Yeah.
you gonna get?
I would, it's hard. I think that the Cavs would have to take an L on a trade by dealing Kevin Love elsewhere. I would say the Knicks, but
Who you gonna get? I understand. Get rid of Kevin Love.
Who's LeBron's homie out in New York City?
Nah, not Carmelo.
Carmelo Anthony.
No, we're gonna get the old.
Who?
We're gonna get the old guy squad.
Who is the guy with the unmovable contract in New York City?
Carmelo.
Carmelo Anthony.
Daniel Gibson will be a fool. A fool.
Daniel
fool.
Gibson does not hold his own wallet. LeBron James holds Dan Gibson's wallet. Daniel Gilbert's
I
wallet.
don't think that much
He holds
foolishness in the
Gilbert's
world.
wallet.
There's not that much foolishness in the world, Aaron.
When-
Stop talking crazy.
When Gilbert goes to the gas station, he makes sure that he prints out a receipt and mails it to LeBron. Just so, because LeBron is so deep off in Gilbert's pockets. I could definitely see it. Kevin Love is a good player.
You must be talking to your Facebook friends.
No,
You're not talking to these people in radio.
I'm talking to everybody out there. Please understand me. I think that Kevin Love is not the guy for the job out there. And I think that, Melo, you want to say that Melo could take a back seat to LeBron because, you know, people love playing with LeBron. At the same time, I think that it would be something that could possibly happen and kind of backfire. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think that Kevin Love is really the Achilles heel. I don't think Kyrie needs to go anywhere. I know a lot of people are down on Kyrie and they would just love the day to see Kyrie get traded away from Cleveland, but I don't think that Kyrie is the problem there, at least all the time. I think, you know, Kevin Love is the problem. When you have journeyman Channing Frye dropping 20-some-odd points and getting about 20 minutes of play in a playoff game, as Kevin Love sits on the bench.
Kevin Love has been reduced to a role player. I do agree.
Is a problem.
I do agree.
You have a guy making almost $20 million sitting on the bench for Channing friggin' Frye.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. That shows me that there is kind of a problem there when it comes to Kyrie's reputation on that team. Not Kyrie, excuse me. Kevin Love's reputation on that team. I don't think it's very becoming, and I think that he could be facing to get up out of there. Now, as we segue away from that, and you know, since we are getting up to free agency, you know, a lot of our teams are all sitting at home, like my Los Angeles Lakers.
And my Atlanta Falcons.
You mean Hawks?
Hawks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Those guys. So you know, I've seen that you pulled up a couple of free agent lists and guys who potentially be on the move. And we discussed free agency earlier. As most people don't know, the CBA has dictated that the salary cap is going up to about $90 million, which means 21 teams in the NBA have a max contract offer to give. And I think it's probably roughly around 6 or 7 could afford 2 max contracts.
Now, there are some interesting people on this list. I'm pulling it up now. I had the wrong list up earlier. I had the 2017 list. But let's pull up the 2016 list here real quick. And let's see who some of these people. Look, number one on the list.
Kevin Durant. KD special.
Unrestricted.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Kevin Durant, I know we like to, you know, kind of bounce around ideas and rumors that Durant may go back to DC, his hometown, or Laker fans are excited thinking that they may lure Kevin Durant in some pipe dream way over to Los Angeles to play for the Lakers.
I really think I have a not theory. I have a actually scenario that is the best fit, in my opinion, for Kevin Durant is New York City. It really is. Because you can trade Carmelo, get rid of that hefty contract that you was talking about earlier.
Nobody is trading him for that contract.
Yes, you could get a young, 27-year-old, free, small forward, who can pair up with that nice young rookie that you got, Porzingis. Both of them are good shooters. Both of them, I think Porzingis can learn way more from Kevin Durant than he can learn from Carmelo Anthony.
The only flaw.
Then you got 2 nice young pieces that you could really build around.
Which you very well could be right, but the only flaw that I find in that is coaching.
Who's going to coach him?
Jeff Hornacek has been hired by Jim Dolan. So they're right then and there in New York. There is a cluster, you know what, going on because.
Why Jeff Hornacek?
It's Dolan. Blame Dolan, the owner.
You'd be better off getting Isaiah Thomas back.
This is his hire. You're paying Phil Jackson $12 million a year, you know, to run this squad. This was supposed to be Phil's hire, but Phil didn't make the hire. So now you have Jeff Hornacek there. I think that is an immediate disconnect that's going on in the front office, and I think that would be a very that would turn Kevin Durant completely off. Personally, I feel like as far as Durant is concerned, I think out of all the rumors and everything that's going on, I think at the end of the day, Durant is going to sign a 2-year deal in OKC with a 1-year opt-out so he can wait and see what Russell Westbrook does, especially if this team doesn't win in the finals.
You think he's gonna sign a 1-year option and wait for Russell?
Definitely. He's going to sign a 1-year.
Because Russell is a free agent next year.
Next year, exactly. And he's going to sign a 2-year deal with a 1-year opt-out. And, you know, when we think about the top 5 players in the game, top 5 superstars, you know, the only person right now that is doing the whole 1 year opt out, 1 year at a time type of deal is LeBron James. Kevin Durant's ego will put him at that same level with LeBron, where he's going to think, well, if LeBron can, you know, sign for 1 year for 30 mil and opt out so he can make 5 million more maybe the next year, I can do the same thing. I'm Kevin Durant. So I think Durant's going right back to OKC. I think he may drag it out just a little bit maybe, and but at the end of the day, I think Durant's going right back to OKC.
Really? Well, it is his best option. His best option for a championship seems like right now, as we're looking at these finals, is to stay put. Stay put with Russell Westbrook. They seem to have finally started putting a run together. They got some nice pieces. Let's keep the band together. I mean, I think this whole Billy Donovan hire, in my opinion, which turned out to be a really good hire.
Oh, exactly.
I
thought it was terrible at first.
Yeah, I thought it was too, but it's turning out to be a really good hire, and it was all for Kevin and for Russell.
Yeah,
they needed something to change so that they would want to stay.
One of those clear cliches that actually comes to fruition, being, you know, they needed a new voice. It's actually, you know,
it's worked out. Yeah,
it's actually the truth in this situation that you know, OKC needed a new voice. Now, as we go further down this list, we got Andre Drummond, Hassan Whiteside. Hassan Whiteside is going to be heavily lusted after. I think he's
going to
getting
be
the next
heavily
contract.
recruited.
Oh yes, definitely getting the next
recruited.
contract. You got DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan. That's where I get kind of emotionally invested in this free agent class, because it seems as though DeMar, earlier this week, TMZ have reported that, you remember Little Romeo?
Really?
Master P's son?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, TMZ, first and foremost, Man Law 713 states that grown men do not call other grown men BFFs. Let's get that out of the way first, TMZ. TMZ putting headlines up saying DeMar DeRozan's BFF says he's going to Los Angeles to play for the Lakers. Terrible headline. I don't know what they were thinking with that.
It might be true though.
Two dudes calling for BFF.
You might not like how they said it. They didn't say it with their chest or anything, but
Hey man,
there may be truth to it. Because who would know outside of his friend?
Yeah,
Romeo?
just say DeRozan's best friend. Romeo Miller, not his BFF.
So DeMar DeRozan to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Explore this.
I don't mind it, and I don't at the same time want to pay $20 million for DeMar DeRozan. Although we need a wing in LA, we need one bad. But at the same time, 9 times out of 10, we're drafting Brandon Ingram out of Duke. So why pull in DeMar DeRozan into the fold?
Because the Lakers are no longer selling out Staples Center. The Clippers are.
The Clippers aren't selling out Staples Center. The Lakers are the talk of the town, regardless. And what proves it is we're talking Lakers right now with the 2 pick in the draft, and we're not talking about the Clippers. I can guarantee you, in the Los Angeles market, you can ask any sports personality in Los Angeles. Once you start talking Clippers, people turn the channel. Period. And this is a team that's been in the playoffs. Oh, it's terrible. This is a team that's been in the playoffs the last, 4 or 5 years now. So, DeMar DeRozan, I think, would be, coveted by the Lakers, but I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think we need to throw $20 million at DeMar DeRozan. Let Ingram come in, let this team keep working. Plus, Jordan Clarkson is a restricted free agent, so just sign him to an extension and let him come back. Now, as we talk about the Lakers, let's also remember that Al Horford has also been subject to a lot of Lakers rumors. A lot of Lakers fans love Al Horford, and I know to Atlanta fans, that is the funniest thing that you've probably heard all week long, because I know how much you guys hate Al Horford here in Atlanta.
Well, we don't hate him. I think it's just another thing of familiarity breeds contempt. We just know Al Horford in his game. We know he's a nice piece. We know we haven't been playing him properly the whole time he's been the Hawks. Ever since we drafted him, everybody knows he's a power forward. Mm-hmm. But he's been playing center. He's been playing it. He's had a great attitude about it. You don't hear no problems out of him.
He's a good locker room guy.
Good locker room guy. He does his job. He's a double-double every night. He's a double-double every night, consistent. When healthy. And he has been healthy over the last year.
And being transparent, as a Laker fan, I don't mind Al Horford being signed for the max. I will take Al Horford for the max. A lot of Hawks fans scoff at that, and they just refuse to believe that Al Horford is worth a max contract. Again, I go back to what I said earlier in the show. $90 million salary cap, you will get players who are going to get max contracts that usually don't get one. Don't believe me? Go back to last year when Wesley Matthews out of Portland Trailblazers got a max contract after he ruptured an Achilles tendon in the playoffs. Dude was not going to play for at least almost half a year and ruptured Achilles, got a max contract. So Al Horford, two-time All-Star, he's been on all defensive teams before, you know.
As a fan,
Max contract.
As a fan, I may not agree with the max contract, but I do think we need to keep Al Horford in Atlanta. We've invested all this good. He's a consistent player. He's perfect for what Coach Bud is trying to run. We need to keep him here. Now, I don't know at max. Now, no, everybody agrees in Atlanta. I think everybody agrees that we want Al to stay. Now, we just don't agree at what price.
You're gonna have to pay Al the max. Get over it. Pay Al the max. You know, you can ask him if he was going to take a hometown discount. He might, but because he has, stated that he does want to stay in Atlanta. But I think he deserves a max contract because at the end of the day, you could get coach killer, team killer Dwight Howard for a max contract to play for the Hawks, and your franchise suffer for the next 2-3 years after he bails, i.e. Orlando, i.e. LA Lakers, i.e. soon to be Houston Rockets.
What a
I'm
difference.
just saying.
What a difference that 3 years makes.
Oh, yeah.
What a difference. 3 years ago when he was a free agent, was it 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Just 3 years ago. He was the hottest free agent on the market. Everybody, he went to LA. They traded him to go to LA because they knew that he wasn't going to stay in Orlando, right? Was this 3 years ago?
Yes.
Am I wrong? Somebody on Facebook correct me if I'm wrong.
Maybe 3 or 4.
I may be off
Somewhere
by a
in there.
year. Yeah, so he was the hot one. He went to Los Angeles, had it out with Kobe, and then left to be a free agent. And Houston just running to the table with money. Just running to the table with money. And now here we are today in 2016. Dwight Howard is not even a top 5. Is he a top 5 free agent? No.
Nope. He's ranked on, as far as hoop hype is concerned, he's ranked around 8, which is borderline at that, because I would sign Bradley Beal before I sign, and Bradley Beal is, I don't see him as a max, but hey.
Now the redemption tour has been going on. Now you've seen the clips on TNT, and he's done magazine articles with some magazine articles. I don't want to say with because I don't want to miscall it. Was it Ebony or was it Essence or something?
Yeah, somebody.
Yeah, and the redemption tour is on and popping, but can he say a few words, give a few interviews, and make people change their minds about giving him a max contract?
He possibly could. Dwight Howard, in my opinion, is a con artist, and he can talk you into some
I know
stuff.
he's a local boy.
You got about 12 kids and 10 baby mamas. You can talk your way into some things.
You got some things. You got some words.
So I imagine
you got some game.
Right. I imagine he can use some of that game. Like
outside of I'm Dwight Howard.
Right. he can use some of that game into
and all
talking
those kids
to somebody.
Take care of. He needs the money.
Oh yeah, talking to somebody in the max contract. I think that can definitely happen. Now,
but do we want him in Atlanta again? I mean, before we were crying 3 years ago. We were crying because we were like, we can't even attract our hometown guy back home. We can't even give him the hometown, give him the spiel to come home and play for the Atlanta Hawks. This is his hometown.
Well, Atlanta's
we don't want him now.
Star-struck town, but I would like to think that smart Atlanta Hawks fans wouldn't want to have anything to do with Dwight Howard.
Should we keep Horford? I bet you right now that Dwight Howard will come home because he knows he can probably get the best deal from Atlanta. He can probably get the best money from Atlanta.
I think at the end of the day with Horford, it would be, Atlanta would be in his top 3. I would say Atlanta, maybe Charlotte. The head coach Steve Clifford used to be an assistant on, I believe, the Houston squad that Howard was on. So he is familiar with Steve Clifford. So
well, what I'm asking
Charlotte
is,
would be a move. Or New York.
Should the Hawks target keeping Al Horford or going after who we wanted so bad 3 years ago,
No.
Dwight Howard?
No, they should keep Horford. Keep Horford. Dwight Howard isn't winning anybody in the championship. The problem with Dwight Howard is Dwight Howard wants to be the centerpiece of the offense. He wants to be the centerpiece of the team. He wants the ball to go through him, and that's not how we play in the NBA anymore. You know, that is early 2000s, late 1990s thinking. If you had a big man, you could win a championship.
The big men are few and far between
yeah,
now.
and they're
Good ones.
Yeah, and the best ones, even in the league now. You know, think of the best centers in the league. Anthony Davis, Lotto team. DeMarcus Cousins, Lotto team. You know, hey,
That's
it is
it.
what it is.
Biyombo is probably like the third best big man now.
And that's 2 weeks of work.
Yeah.
2 weeks of work.
He's probably the third best big man in the league based on just what he's done against Cleveland.
And then we were gassing up Whiteside, got hurt in the playoffs, Miami, boom, out of there, gone, done.
So that's
the big men have diminished, you know, in the game as far as their relevancy to winning championships and winning titles. I'm not just trashing all over big men, because you do need a big man at some point. You need somebody to crash the boards. You need somebody to clog up the paint. You need those things.
But you don't necessarily need a center.
But you don't need a center for the offense to run through, and the center score most of the points and get the double-doubles that's going to lead you to a title. There are no Shaqs coming on, although he does have a kid that's doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
But there are no Shaquille O'Neals that are just walking through the door tomorrow and leading a team to the championship. Don't believe me? Look at Golden State last year. Boom, championship. This is how it works now. We're kind of moving this way along. And although we glorify the big men, they aren't winning championships. Again, the top two big men in the league are on lotto teams.
Yeah.
So
It's just the fact that because there's so few good big men, the few big men out there in the market, the game is just transformed to try to work without them. Shooters are now what you need. Guards are back. Guards are hot now.
yeah, it's a guard-driven
It's
league.
a guard-driven league. You need shooters and you need guards who can penetrate. And that's the reason why Dwight Howard is seeing his stock go down. Hassan Whiteside, Anthony Davis got locked up to a 10-year deal. They ain't never letting him out of New Orleans. But if you have a big man, you got him locked up.
And the thing with Horford that's also going to earn him a max contract is that he's a shooter.
Yeah.
Horford's a big who can shoot.
Yeah.
And that's what you want in today's NBA. You want a big who can shoot.
And he can still play center. And he can play the
Exactly. And with a power forward body, can still play center. So I think Horford will end up back in Atlanta.
He's too versatile. He's too
eventually.
versatile.
Yeah, he is. He's not the guy that's going to win you a title or lead you to a title, but he's an essential piece that you can use and that you would need. Now, as we wrap that up and coming full circle in that conversation, by the way, this is AUMA Radio at AUMARadio.com. You can call in if you want to talk free agent basketball. You want to talk about Golden State. We ain't taking your call if you talk about Cleveland and Toronto. That series is over.
What you got to talk about?
Yeah, we don't want
What's there to talk about?
We don't want to talk about DeMarre Carroll or Eunice, Valanciunas. We don't want to talk about none of them people. We ain't doing all that. So 678-408-0349. We are going to talk about a certain very confrontational ex-basketball player who had some key words for a radio icon, Chris Russo.
Yeah, that was
quite the entertaining exchange between Chris Russo and
when we come back from break.
this legend.
When we come back from break, we're gonna play that.
Oh yeah, we're gonna
do that?
Yeah, we're going there.
All right.
We have to talk about this one. But there's a certain NBA legend. Well, is he a legend?
In his mind, in some people's mind.
I think
in
if
the
you're like
early NBA.
Yeah, I think if you're like over 45, he's a legend. But if you're
what was that? The pre-league when the 76ers used to play in that.
Yeah, when the ABA.
The ABA guy.
Yeah, I think he's a legend in that regard. But if you like weren't born in like
last 20 years.
I think post 1970, you wouldn't really think he was a legend. But, he has some harsh words for Chris Russo, and he also basically told us that Michael Jordan didn't exist. So we're gonna get to that and right now, but we're gonna play a little bit of music and we will talk about this. AUMA Radio.
I seen your girl post a bill, so I hit her in the DM. Alright, yeah, I see him.
Doing pretty good.
Yeah, this your man, I hate to be him.
Basketball talk.
It goes down in the DM. It go down in the
I
DM.
missed the announced it before we started talking about it. Rome is the creator. That's 2017. That's 2017.
That tell me that. Oh, they tell me that this is cool. Well, my DM poppin'. My DM just talk about it.
I got a clip in here Baylor and Ovid, self-imposed today.
Yeah.
I said your girl post a DM.
They already admit me guilty. But Baylor is number one. Baylor's number one, then we can go in on.
Don't you hate when you get screenshot? Baby, that deal one for everybody. Roots. I love it, I'm addicted to it, I know I am. And I just love Angela Simmons. I got a crush on Angela Simmons. They like to
get all the
you both. Yeah, I'm gonna let the world know. Cause I seen your girl post a video. So I hear her in the
a 12.5% reduction.
Alright, yeah, I see him.
Unofficial
Yeah,
business.
this your man, I hate to be him.
They have previously
Go
done that.
down in the field. It go down in the field.
They self-imposed 11 total scholarships over a 4-year
It
period
go down in the field.
from 2015 to 2018,
That's your medium.
including a reduction of initial 3 scholarships.
That's your medium scholarship. Cool.
And that this will allow them only to sign 22 players max. So they must know. They're trying to get rid of the death penalty. A school does that much,
So I hear her in
it's
the
on. They
field.
know. So not only they do that, that's not all. That's not all. They did a ban on unofficial visits. Off campus. Evaluation days. They try to hem themselves up the roof. They will accused of 28 violations. I mean 13 more violations. And people say this is really hurting the reputation of Hugh Freeze, who was thought of as a good Christian coach. You know, he was the blindside coach.
They're all good Christian coaches.
To like football.
Right, to football.
Oh my
They're not Christian no more.
Healthy.
And that's the whole thing with
Sisters all
Baylor
around
and
the
everything
world.
too. Baylor
I'm
is
talking
two
the
weeks.
175 and
I
up
was gonna
club.
ask, will
We cook
our
good,
girls
we
get show
eat
cause?
good, we
Show
live
cause. I don't know if he's gonna get a show cause or not. That means if he goes to another book, somebody hires him, they're gonna show cause him to the leg. He's gonna be banned for like maybe a short period in the drug. If he doesn't get picked up real fast, he can get up. That's because people are scared of the show cause. People are scared of the show cause.
I'm talking cook, clean, kids, man, swallow. You never see a big girl begging for his. If you hit it right, she may buy you a whip. And if you say you love her, she may pay the rent. You know I'm from Atlanta, home of Georgia peaches. Cornbread booties, we love the bleachers. I wanna get back up, slap dropping it, baby. Big girl, a freak, man, you know that she with it. Pretty deep, but forget being scared. But if your man ain't with it, forget being with him. If your man won't get it, then hit him, brother. I'll be off in that moose like, woo, yeah, bro. Watch him, this a little thing. Watch him, this a little thing. She just had a business, she gained a little weight. Bye, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna start with the little, cause out the gate, I'm seeing her later on. No, I'm bringing a plate. Throwing it in the salad. My baby says she needs up on her palate. You should see the bus straight. She deserved Texas Roadhouse. Rallies. She asked you to kill her around. But she looked it like that's a little down on myself. When she bent over.
We're talking about Ole Miss. That can't start right. That makes it all interesting. That makes it all interesting.
Miami on it like a body dancer, hotter than wasabi. Got me looking at the bombs, throwing Nagasaki. Gotta drop a couple guys, got the city, call me Copperfield. Let's go. Who they flipping like it wasn't nothing to it?
Same one who tried to
This
impeach
back to the
President
shit that took up in interest. I put in some rest and the pride that envision. I might be flipping from the back. Over here just doing math.
Christmas holy.
I'm the lead, I ain't doing Kama Sutra, Martin Luther King Jr. for that booty. I can create that. Watch your mouth. Just a little thing. I know you can
Sit outside the line so
watch your mouth. Just a little thing. You juicy.
that's what really killed me. The young lady went on outside the line. But I don't know what I'm talking about.
Girl, get off my foot.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. That was a short little music break. Welcome back to AUMA Radio, AUMARadio.com. AUMA at AUMA Radio on Twitter and Instagram. We are back from the break.
By the way, I did start a Sold Out Sports on Twitter
Oh,
for AUMA Radio.
Oh.
Just want to throw that out there.
all right.
Give us a follow.
That's a follow. AUM at Sold Out Sports on Twitter.
Forgot, didn't turn my mic on. Bad
Yeah.
radio, don't turn your mic on.
Sold Out Sports on Twitter. You were saying you got us a follow?
Yes. Go ahead and follow us at Sold Out Sports on Twitter. I got to get around to changing the banner, but yeah, we're on Twitter.
And you were teasing before the break this clip. I heard it and it is hilarious. We want to play it now.
Oh yeah, this is fun. This is Chris Russo. Don't give me the line. I think his show is called Mad Dog Sports.
Yes, it
okay.
is Mad
I
Dog
thought so.
Sports.
I had a brain fart there about it. He is a sports radio legend of sorts in his own right. And he was talking with Rick Barry, and things got a little heated. You know what it reminded me of? You remember the Family Guy episode where the guys talking, they did a little, the cutaway, and the guy's talking to the donkey, and the donkey's like, no, hero. That's what this reminded me of. So this is Rick Barry. Old, basketball player.
Yeah, father of the Brent Berries and the patriarch.
For those born,
Barry
for
family.
those born post civil rights, this is the father of the white guy from Seattle who won the dunk contest, Brent Berry. If you guys remember him, well, this is his dad. His dad was a good basketball player. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, I was kind of on the fence of whether or not to call him a legend.
Yeah.
So but that's neither here nor there. Here's Rick Barry on the Chris Russo show.
What is your take on how good LeBron is?
How good is LeBron?
Yeah.
Three to ever play the game.
You think he's the best player to ever play the game?
Best three. Best player. There's no such thing as the best player that everybody wants to talk about because you can't compare a center to a power forward, to a guard, to a point guard. If you got a distance play, everybody does that. He's the best three. Well, the best center in my mind. Jerry West used to be the best two. Now you have to say it was Michael Jordan. So you have to pick by position in team sports. Do anything else is foolish.
Why would you pick Wilt over Russell when Wilt had
Why
two?
would I not? Why would I not?
I'm going to give you the reasons.
Championship
No,
means nothing.
I'm not going to give you that. I'm going to give you situations where Wilt took himself out of Game 7 against the Celtics in '68. Where in the second half again in '60.
So you're gonna pick out one?
No, I got more.
Come on. Hey, listen. First of all, if you know the game of basketball, all the skills required to play the center position, you can't tell me. As much as I admire and respect what Bill Russell did, would love to have him as a teammate. In fact, I wish I could have on my team with Brooke, and I put him at power forward. He is not a better basketball player, not even close to what Will Chamberlain is. 50 points a game, 22.5 rebounds per game.
Right.
This guy is unbelievable. There isn't anybody that can compare to him.
Fair. But also in Game 7 against the Knicks, he's one
I
of
don't
the...
care about that.
You gotta, Rick, when you're putting on the...
You're talking.
Well, no, there's a lot of the... Rick, there's a lot of these games. Go look at...
Don't argue with me about this, okay? I played the game. I know what these guys can do. You can have your opinion.
I played the game!
Your opinion of yours is wrong, 100%. There is no way that Bill Russell, with all the skills involved, to play the center position, had more skills and talent than Bill Russell.
I agree with that.
Story.
But he's a better winner.
But that's all we're talking about.
He's a better winner, though. He's a better winner.
Well, I didn't say that. That wasn't the question, was it? The question was who's the better player.
Well, what is your explanation of Wilt taking himself out of Game 7 in Russell's last game?
I have no idea. You know, Wilt said he can't answer that question, but to bring that up and say that Russell is
Well, I mean, we're splitting hairs, but you put LeBron as the...
Splitting hairs? The question was who's the best player.
Well, I'll ask it this way. You're starting a team tomorrow. Would you start with Russell or Wilt?
I just gave you the answer to that. You obviously weren't listening.
Well, you give it...
How do we get your point across? I told you, I think Wilt is my center, and I think Bill Russell is my power forward.
Well, I don't have that choice. You have to take one or the other.
I have the choice. I'm entitled to have my own choice. You can't tell me what choice I have.
That's Rick Barry going completely
Ham.
Yeah, just crazy. It's crazy, man. And then he told what this is what I love about certain athletes out there, that it's always been funny to me is don't give me the I played the game! I played the game, you don't know what you're talking about, you're not allowed to talk about anything because I played the game.
You have no opinion because you didn't play the game.
Yeah,
I played the game.
This is the weakest speech, and that's a speech that people give when they're losing the argument, they're losing the battle, or they just you're trying to belittle somebody by saying, "Oh well, you don't know what you're talking about. I played the game." You know, because
what game? What do you mean? Well, at what? Just because you played the game at what level? Well, I played the game.
Yeah,
I played the game in my yard.
It's just amazing.
Did you play the game?
Yeah.
Have you played the game? Has anybody on Facebook played the game?
Oh yeah, I know plenty of people on my Facebook who played the game.
Anybody out there in internet radio?
But, you know,
have you played the game?
You know, he's played the NBA game, so you, Sonny, get off my yard! You never played the game. I shot free throws underhand. I know about basketball. You know nothing. Shut up. Wilt Chamberlain is the best player ever after Bill Russell. Okay, possibly valid, but the problem here is that he loses me with the, championships don't count, and you can't compare these players to these players. BS, we can't compare players to players. We do it all the time. We do it in a sport like football, where there are different positions and you try to compare a running back to a quarterback or wide receiver, to a corner. We do it in every sport. So you can't, I get the premise of his argument, but starting off with
his qualifier.
Yeah, his qualifier is being, well, I played the game.
Well, we all played the game in gym class.
Yeah, that's a bogus argument. Russo did make, correct statements in his, and trust me, Russo can come off very brash and very just loud and, confrontational in his own right. And Rick Barry can too, which is why it was kind of a fun interview to listen to, because those two kind of bouncing. And it got worse. It did get worse, because I listened to the whole thing. It's like a good 8 or 9 minutes of them just going back and forth, yelling at each other. It's great. It's hilarious. If you want to Google it, just look up Chris Russo and Rick Barry. But my thing is, it's one of those, it's just when people just can't get out of their time capsule. And I don't, it's not that the fact that I'm arguing that Wilt Chamberlain was not a great basketball player or that Bill Russell was not a great basketball player. They both were. But at the same time, if they played against a ton of competition that wasn't up to par with,
No, the NBA today is, because they've had the benefit of the experience of watching all the old players play. They've had the benefit of having that competition. I think that the players today are a little bit more athletic. Look at Steph Curry. Nobody is even. They want to put up a 4-point line because of Steph Curry.
Yeah,
they're talking about it.
They're absolutely more athletic, and there were physical specimens that were just beyond their years and beyond their time. But if you think about it, if you grew up watching 90s and late 80s basketball, and I'm not going to even include anything pre-1982, anything around, actually I would say 80. Okay, let's do it like this. Anything before Bird Magic,
yeah.
I don't want to hear it. I do not want to hear it.
What about Dr. J?
No,
What
we're not
about
talking. No,
Dr.
none
J?
of those guys. Before Bird and Magic, then we can talk. You know, we're not talking about greatness of the NBA. We're not. They
Talk about
still
the greatness of the ABA.
exactly. The NBA Finals was on tape delay before many of us were born. So I don't want to hear that garbage. I mean, Wilt was a great player. Bill Russell was a great player. You know,
Dr. J.
Walt Frazier. We can go on and on.
Iceman.
You know, there was plenty of great players. But when we were talking about when the competition level rose in the 80s and the early 90s, then we can talk about, you know, let's talk about Michael Jordan. Oh, he was just the greatest two ever. Really, Rick Barry? He was the greatest two guard ever? That's the best that you're going to give Michael Jordan? He was the best two guard ever? He was the best basketball player who has ever walked the planet. And after him was Kobe Bryant as the best basketball player since Jordan left to play the game until LeBron James got to the NBA, who was the best basketball player after Kobe declined. Point blank period, hands down.
Those are the top three.
That's not knocking Wilt. That's not knocking Frazier. That's not knocking Larry Bird, Dr. J, Magic Johnson. Because I'll tell you right now, Magic Johnson is my favorite basketball player of all time.
Yeah.
But let's just keep things in perspective and not live in our time capsules of the good old days when things were great.
Those guys dominated.
Yeah, they dominated their sport.
They
you know,
dominated.
let's not be, you know,
The whole fabric of the game changed when they were in.
Baseball and basketball and NFL, you know, Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA. I need all people out there to start growing with the times and stop living. Don't be Confederate flag guy. You know, it's part of my heritage. Don't be that guy. Be the guy who understands that these guys are working out 360 some odd days a year. They're practicing. They're not working at a grocery store in the off season.
All you need to be is objective.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be so biased about the good old days when players could wrestle each other and throw each other on the floor. Yeah, it was entertaining, but that is not where we're at anymore. Furthermore, if you look at some of these guys with 2% body fat, 1% body fat, 6'10", 260 pounds, you know, take off their shirt, look like a pro wrestler. You don't want to see these guys throw each other on the floor because it's going to be a bloodbath. Somebody's going to get killed. That's why they don't do that anymore. Yes, the Charles Barkleys and Patrick Ewings and all those guys of the world, they did that because they were fat guys who drunk beer after games. They smoked cigars after they left the arena.
And
yeah,
have to
now,
do that. All I do is get in people's way.
Yeah, now,
just get in people's way.
Some of these guys now, they are drinkers and they do smoke a lot of weed. not gonna deny that. However, these guys, there's about 100, 200 NBA basketball players who are walking around right now. You know, they can bench press 200, 300 pounds, maybe. You know, they can squat. They work out all year long. They are in incredible shape.
They're watching they're looking at their bodies. They're paying attention to their nutrition.
They're not eating McDonald's or Wendy's or anything like that. They're going to sleep
at a good hour. They're getting proper rest, proper nutrition, and they're getting proper workout and training and conditioning.
Exactly. So, that being the case, I just think Rick Barry was just being that old guy, that a lot of us, have been guilty in our past of being that old guy.
I'm that old girl when it comes to music sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm the same way with music too. I can be that get off my lawn type of guy. This new music sucks. I hate it. What's up with these tight pants?
MCs no more.
Cut your damn hair.
What's the MCs? What's it? Blah, 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 blah. What is that?
Yeah, I can be that old guy too, but I try to progress and I try to give it a chance. And if I don't like it, I don't like it. I'm just not going to listen to it and that be the end of it. But I try not to knock all of it.
They deserve their time. The young kids,
let them shine.
Let them shine. They deserve their time to shine, just like we had our time to shine. We have our time to shine, and just like they had their time to shine.
Yeah.
And so your time to shine is over. It's not time to dump on the guys who are shining right now.
And that's what the
appreciate what you're watching.
That's what the older generation of athletes continuously do, and I witnessed that a lot as Golden State was doing their run, and Scottie Pippen would sound off,
Oscar Robertson.
And these guys would make little things. I'm just waiting for the moment where that one player, and I'm hoping that it's like Russell Westbrook, that, you know,
Just goes
listens
off.
to some old guy in a suit with balding hair talking about, oh yeah, we would have swept OKC. We played them in the playoffs. I just want Russell Westbrook to be like, shut your old ass up. If you think you better than us, meet me on the court. You pick the court. We'll play, and I'll dust you off with your 50-year-old talking ass. I just wish that happened. I want a young guy to do
But he
that.
can't win. He can't win because then you're beating up on an old.
Oh yeah, because then he's
Then you're beating up on
disrespecting the game.
Yeah, he's beating up on an old dude.
It's crazy. You know, well, moving on from that, there is I'm sorry, I have not gotten a chance to talk about this. It slipped my mind twice. We have Rudy Reyes from the Brew Dog Sports podcast, who will be joining us at 7:30. He'll be talking to us about the Pittsburgh Steelers, my favorite team. We'll also be talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins, who don't do a lot of NHL, but, you know, give them a moment to talk about the NHL. The Penguins are
it
in
is the Stanley Cup Finals.
They made it to the Stanley Cup Finals.
We'll give them a minute or two.
Yeah, and against the San Jose Sharks. I hope the Sharks get swept by the Pens, because I'm a Kings fan. But we're going to keep that out of it. But and we'll talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates and the near fight that they got into, where Tony La Russa was accused of some things and barged into a Pittsburgh Pirate broadcast in the middle of the broadcast and started arguing with the commentators.
Tony La Russa?
Yeah, Tony La Russa.
Retired Tony La Russa?
Oh yeah.
60, 70-year-old Tony La Russa?
It got pretty heavy. He got some
fire in him?
Oh yeah, he still has fire in him. But we'll get to him in about 20 minutes. Right now, we're gonna start. This is something I've been wanting to talk about all week long.
I'm not looking forward to this. I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm ready to talk. These Baylor Bears.
Yeah, this Baylor Bears thing with Art Browse was fired. For those who don't know the story, with Baylor, there were a lot of players for Baylor University Bears football team who were being accused of sexual assault.
Convicted?
Yeah. Excuse me.
We can say that they did it.
Convicted. Yeah.
There's a couple of them going to jail.
Yeah.
And one on the way.
Yeah. A couple of them that have been convicted, accused, and the names have been piling up.
We don't even have to say allegedly.
You know, Sean Oathman was one of the names. The names just got more and more and more. You know, sexually assaulting women and things of that nature. And then as more news broke, we started to find out that the athletic department, head coaches, assistant coaches, everything within the Baylor program were intimidating these women.
Impeding investigations.
Yeah, and threatening these women for coming forward and, you know, basically telling their story, you know, by penalty that, you know, no one would believe them and this,
actually,
that, you know, just
Aaron, I got
crazy.
If some of you out there watch the Outside of the Lines report that happened this week.
Yeah, because I missed that.
Yeah, the young lady who came on, she was eloquent. And she's the one, I believe, that interview really started everything moving. I mean, she went on, I mean, maybe you guys didn't watch it in the middle of the day, but she went into Outside the Lines and talked to Chris Lee, and they did a wonderful interview. She was articulate, she was eloquent. She said she's a graduate now. She's working now. This was a few years ago that this happened to her, and she took the steps of not only reporting this. She went through she said they were very slow to move when she reported it. They did everything they could to delay hearings. They did delays. They did slow reporting. She said she did everything she was asked to do. And Baylor is a university, the biggest Baptist university in the country, and it has a supposedly Christian mission.
Yeah.
And some of you who are out there who are Christian may understand that if you have a problem with your Christian brother, you're supposed to go to them one-on-one. That is, and she said that. She said that on the air. She said that's what she did. She went and she talked to Ken Starr. She had a sit-down meeting with Ken Starr in his office. And
yes, that was the same Ken Starr who tried to get Bill Clinton impeached. That's
Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky, Ken Starr.
Yeah, that's the same Ken Starr.
Special prosecutor Ken Starr, who went ham on Bill Clinton and got him impeached.
Yes. Who is still the chancellor at Baylor.
Yeah.
Art Browse
was the president of Baylor, and now he was demoted to chancellor.
Yeah.
How do you get demoted to chancellor?
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but she sat down face to face. Was a very brave young lady, and face to face with the president of her university while she was still a student there, and told him her story. And he supposedly commiserated with her, gave her all the, he was very kind. He supposedly looked her in her face and gave her the sense that he was going to do something. But then when she left, he did nothing.
Did nothing. And here is the outlying issue, taken away from this Baylor thing. Of course, the head coach Art Browse was fired. Probably won't get another head coaching job in the FBS. In the FBS,
I would disagree.
I think maybe the FCS, but I don't think he'll get a big D1 coaching job again.
I disagree. I do disagree with that because Art Browse, he's a good coach. He took Baylor. Nobody knew anything about Baylor until Art Browse.
They didn't, and that's true. But in the face of this type of scandal, and that he knew about it, and more than likely played a bigger part than what they were led on to in this situation, I think that a lot of schools would be very hesitant to hire him. Maybe in 2-3 years, he may get
clean
picked
up his
up.
reputation.
Yeah,
he might go to the league.
Yeah, go up under. Yeah,
He might go to the league.
go
he
under
doesn't
the
have to worry
radar
about
for a
that.
little bit. But the outlying issue here that I see all too well, not only in athletics on the field, but also in sports media and journalism and things of that nature, and even to everyday working environment. Art Browse is fired. Okay, Ken Starr is now the chancellor. The AD and the future of the Baylor football program seems to be kind of in turmoil, but I don't think that we are doing enough. Why does
it have to be a
having-
Title IX?
I mean,
a Title IX lawsuit to get action on this.
exactly. Like, when is it going to come to the point where we all want to be men? We take care of our women. We take care of our women. This, that, and the third. But we don't take care of our women when it comes to the job field. When it comes to things.
When it comes to football.
In sports.
When it comes to football.
We have all these football players who are sexually assaulting women at a Baptist university, a religious institution,
Private.
which should be first and foremost
About its mission.
religious institution, one of the largest in the nation, and there's sexual assault going on from the football team, on football players. Why does
they have to get this far?
Why does this program still exist? When is the NCAA going to step up? And everybody wants to say, oh, well, we can't hurt the kids by doing the death penalty. Yes, the hell we can. Kill the program. All recruits, future recruits, current players, open the doors at Baylor University and let them go. I don't give a damn that you just built a new stadium or renovated it or whatever. I don't give a damn about how many millions that you put into a sporting complex so you can put your players in there to lift weights and get better and get quicker, faster, stronger. Your players are out here sexually assaulting and raping women. There is no room for that. At what point does zero tolerance actually mean zero tolerance and not slap on the wrist and people don't get fired or face criminal charges outside of the players?
But I have to disagree. I have a different opinion. I think that it doesn't have to go to the death penalty because you see what the death penalty did for SMU. The death penalty might kill that university. I don't think the entire university should suffer and lose support because of a few bad apples. Just change the administration. Change the administration and put steps in. I don't think a whole university has to die because few football players and some dumb administrators who value football over the lives and well-being of their students, of their female students, that shouldn't have to kill a whole program. I think they will do enough if they just fire the administration and there's a change at the head of the snake.
I don't think there's enough emphasis on a zero tolerance policy when it comes to sexually assaulting women and rape and domestic violence and things of that nature. Everybody wants to give them the little pat on the butt and say, oh, well, we'll just fire a couple people and that'll make it all better. And I don't think it makes it better because come August, everybody's piling back up into the stadium and cheering on the team and it's go Baylor, go, and we forget about the victims that
look at Penn State.
Suffered. And it's the same thing with Penn State. I feel like Penn State should have caught the death penalty. Now it probably would have been much harder to throw that at Penn State because of the
legend of Joe Pye and the legacy that they have.
The legacy of the institution.
And the Big Ten wouldn't allow it.
And how it basically runs the town that it's in and things of that nature. But I think we have to get to a point that we just say enough is enough, and we start killing programs. And although it may hurt the rest of the athletics at the school, guess what? They can transfer. No sitting out for 1 year, none of that. They can leave and go to the next university over TCU, University of Texas, whatever have you, and let that school wallow in its own misdeeds and looking the other way all the time and saying football is king, learning is second, and crimes don't exist. We're going to sweep them under the rug.
So
before we end up having some football player that gets charged with, a serial rape or killing women on campus, I mean, when is it going to stop? When are we going to get to that point? Before somebody steps up to the plate.
So my question is, will Art Briles, who was fired, and I believe he was fired, I'm going to qualify this, I believe he was fired because just like in the Penn State situation, when they got to the NCAA put such a severe sanctions on Penn State that football players were allowed to transfer without penalty.
Right.
They were allowed to transfer immediately and play elsewhere. That's the reason I think that they went ahead and fired Art Briles before the NCAA could step in. One reason. But will Art Briles, if he remains at the college ranks, will he be tagged with a show cause? And a show cause means that if any other university wants to hire him, they have to show cause to why he should be hired. What's your opinion on that?
I think that I think they will attach it to him, but I think that at this point right now, it would not be a good idea for Art Briles to show his face anyway. He's going to have to completely go under the radar before anybody, wants to talk to him or, drag him into an interview or anything like that. But I just feel like, shame on the NCAA, shame on these other schools, shame on all of them for continuing to let this foolishness go on. The women are, human life is more important than football, and we're starting to continuously slide on a dangerous slope. Yeah, where we don't show it.
God.
Yeah, football is God, and everything else is secondary and doesn't really matter. These girls get raped, sexually assaulted every day. So, the University of Tennessee still hasn't paid for looking the other way.
They're pending. Their case is pending.
But it's going to continue pending because you know what? People are picking the Tennessee Volunteers to win 10 games this next season, in 2016-17 football season. People are picking University of Tennessee to perhaps win the SEC East. That's what matters. What doesn't matter are all these ex-players who, were patted on the butt by their coaches and told, don't worry about it. Oh, we'll just kick them off the team. And all these women get raped, and they sit up in this room and just say, oh, well, from here on out, women need to travel in packs around the campus. Because now it's the women's fault if the football players see you by yourself and want to jump on you like savage animals. It's the woman's fault. That's how it works at the University of Tennessee. So, I feel like until somebody starts really dropping major bombs on these schools
and start hitting them in the wallet,
yeah.
Like the Title IX is really getting movement. Because before, a lot of this stuff would be swept under the rug. It would be, it'd be whispered about but never confirmed. The women in the Title IX, which is going to put them under financial sanctions, that if they're not following Title IX imperatives, they can lose money. Cold hard cash for their programs. That is really getting movement on these cases.
It's getting movement. I think it's too slow. I think things are moving too slow. I think too many innocent people are falling victims to a lot of athletes out here at these schools, and nobody's stepping up to the plate and punishing schools for breaking the law.
Yeah. You broke the law.
I already have a problem with breaking NCAA violations because the NCAA doesn't even follow their own violations as it is.
Mm-hmm.
But, now we're crossing over into the next thing, breaking the law. So what's next? We've seen drug deals. We've seen murders. What's it going to take? Is it going to take a serial killer or something that's going to be on a college team somewhere before the NCAA says, you know what? I don't care that was your best player. We're killing your program. I think at some point, you have to stop this stuff before it just spirals out of control and you get some maniac out here.
And I don't necessarily need the death penalty, but I am happy with people at the top who are fostering this culture being fired. The firing of Ken Starr, the firing of Art Briles, the firing of the AD, and a complete revamp of the program, I think I will be okay with Baylor still playing football. Give them a chance to come back. Give them a chance at redemption. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody gets caught up and the dream that is college football, free, the fame of being a top program in college football. But, let them, okay, they failed. There's been a failure. Now let's recorrect, and let's put a good program out there that you can be proud of.
I mean, I don't mind the death penalty because you fired Art Browse. It's May. Next month is practice.
Yeah.
They're already in spring camp now, and the summer camp's
Well,
going to
Baylor's
start
going to
soon.
hurt.
So now Baylor has to scramble and find
Baylor, who
a
was
head
probably,
coach.
with Art Browse, was a favorite to win the Big Ten.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10 was going to win 10 games.
Yeah, favorite to win the Big 12 again, and to go with, they're going back to the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, so
they're going back to the bottom of the pile.
which was my point, which was why I didn't have a problem with them just killing the program this year. These kids ain't going to win no games this year. You got to go with a new coach. 9 times out of 10, that new coach is going to come in there and clean house anyway. So,
But in a little bit lighter, less dire news, with all this Baylor fire going on and people discussing the Baylor program, Ole Miss quietly put out a news report. Ole Miss, the Laramie Tunsil Ole Miss, quietly put out today that they are self-imposing sanctions on themselves.
That always works.
Yeah, they are. Today they announced that they are going to reduce their scholarships from 2015 through 2018 for the next 4 years by 11. They're going to reduce their scholarships by 11. Now, most programs, as most of you know, you get about 83. But they are going to take 11 scholarships for the next 4 years, self-imposed. Three, I think it's 11 total over the next 4 years, so that they will only be allowed to sign 22 players in each class. Now, I don't know what this tells you, Aaron, but the fact that they are self-imposing scholarships lets me believe that where there is smoke, there is fire. When Laramie Tunsil made those statements on television, that was enough for the NCAA. We discussed this right around the time of the draft, why Laramie Tunsil was falling. This all goes back to Laramie Tunsil and his fall and whoever hacked his account and showed him smoking weed, and the way he got attention off of himself was to go into the interview, post draft interview, and start talking. He talked too much.
Oh yeah.
And so before, really, there's rumors of pay for play going around in a lot of different programs. But usually, once the player goes pro, they're not compelled to testify to the NCAA anymore. While they're students, they are, because they can lose their scholarship. But once they go to the league, they're not compelled to testify. But Laramie Tunsil put enough on tape and on video that there's no need for him to testify. He basically told it himself. So Ole Miss today, they quietly, maybe not so quietly, because we found the story.
Right.
We found the story that they are self-imposing sanctions in an attempt to try to reduce how hard the NCAA may or may not come down on them. And it's not just football, it's basketball, it's across the board with the whole athletic department. What they don't want to have is the famous NCAA hammer called lack
drop down
of institutional control.
Which, here we go again. There's another SEC school who decides to try to escape punishment, just punishment, by imposing self-sanctions on themselves. So now they'll get a slap on the wrist and they'll get away.
Because this is a lack of institutional control, to be honest, this is a classic case.
Yeah. And
I mean, it's not just football, it's
basketball,
it's women's sports.
And it's a case where the NCAA should bust Ole Miss over the head, but it's not going to happen. The SEC is the moneymaker of college sports right now. Softball is being aired and broadcast on ESPN and ESPN1 and ESPN2 and ESPNU. SEC, I seen Georgia and Florida like a couple of days ago in New York on ESPN2. The SEC is king of college sports right now. So when they have misdeeds, then guess what? They're going to put self-imposed sanctions on themselves, and the NCAA is going to say, "Oh, that's okay."
Yeah, but I don't know in this case if Ole Miss has done enough to keep the NCAA from imposing.
At some
stricter
point, the
sanctions.
NCAA is going to have to make an example out of somebody. Will it be more Ole Miss? I don't think so.
I think it would be
I think
because
they'll
Ole Miss
get
is-
them, but they
they're not-
won't get them like they should.
Yeah,
I think there's nothing really in it for the NCAA, and this is probably the problem with the NCAA is everybody doesn't get punished fairly. And I think there's nothing really in it for the NCAA unless it's a major program like a Penn State, which they rescinded, you know, a couple of years afterwards. You know, they rescinded that sanctions that they gave to them. USC couldn't get the same favor, but, you know, I digress. But we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with Rudy Reyes from the the Rude Dog podcast, and we're going to talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs, and we're going to talk about a little bit of Pittsburgh Steelers football. NFL football is on the horizon. We're going to try to talk about as many NFL teams as we possibly can in the next coming weeks because I know you guys miss football.
Want to hit on that Las Vegas story, right?
Oh yes, and we're definitely going to talk about the Las Vegas Raiders coming up. But we're going to take this break and we're going to put our guest on. So hang out with us. It's AUMA Radio.
I don't think this is recorded. I gotta.
Tryna be real, baby, just to let you know. But you know you wanna count it and put it to the floor. And you're going all night, baby, 3 times in a row. Kick your leg back to back, 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row, 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 3 times in a row. Yeah. Got me wide open, she put me like Superwoman. I swear she got control of me. Got a hold of me. Love me, baby, love me, baby. And I hit it, baby, hit it, baby. Well, I can do it, baby, do it, baby, make it well. Got you shivering, shaking, nothing but love. Tryna be real, baby, just to let you know. But you know you wanna count it and put it to the floor. And you're going all night, baby, 3 times in a row. Take your leg back to back, 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row, 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 3 times in a row.
Yeah, I'm from the hood, baby, I'ma let you know. Stood on the block 3 days in a row. Smoking at the spot 3 days in a row. Shorty, you my t-shirt for a bathrobe. Baby, 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 baby. Trapping my habitat. Nobody seeing you, baby. They all got cataracts. Snakes is a weapon. Ratchet, tat. Boom, 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 bah. Ain't no coming back from that. Yeah, I'm so cool. I put Ace in Cadillac. Yeah, I pull up like where the ladies at. Yeah, I put AC in activist. Yeah, I put AC in immaculate.
Like you saw,
Up and down, baby, like a polka. Get that. All these diamonds on me, she like I told you. Know how to baby, that is how I roll. Hey, better, I wanna better, cause she know I got stress, I'm stressing. She know how to and she know I'ma keep it going. I'ma hit it from the picture once I hit it from the crib. And she ain't gonna lie, I'm trying to be real, better, just to let you know. But you know you wanna count it and put it to the floor. And you're going all night, baby, 3 times in a row. Kick your leg back to back, 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row, 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 3 times in a row. I might just make you fall. Hit it like a dog, baby, that's just how it goes. Girl, I got you leaking like a waterfall. When you wanna smash, baby, who you gonna call? Coming baby, coming baby. Good till I'm nice, till I'm nice. Smash, baby, don't encourage, don't encourage. You can bring your best friend, cause I know she freaking. Yeah, better just to let you know. But you know you wanna count it and put it to the floor. And you're going all night, baby, 3 times in a row. Kick your leg back.
Sold Out Sports, AUMA Radio. This is Iron Beavers with the lovely Bridget Lewis, and we are now on the phone with Rudy Reyes, Mr. Rudy Reyes from the Rude Dog podcast. You guys should check him out. It's the RudeDogShow.com. Sorry, RudeDogShow.com. It's Rudy Reyes. Hey, Rudy, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic here, Ron. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So, let's go ahead and dive right into it. We don't get a lot of time to talk about NHL around here, you know, because we are out of Atlanta, so there's not a lot of NHL news popping out of Atlanta because we don't have a team anymore. But I see that the Pittsburgh Penguins are now going to the Stanley Cup Finals, and they'll be playing the San Jose Sharks. So I just wanted to see if you could give us a little bit of insight on Sidney Crosby. What is this going to do for Sidney Crosby? Is this going to kind of perhaps push the NHL as a brand a little bit higher, since one of the major superstars is in a NHL Finals, since we apparently can't get Ovechkin in NHL Finals?
Well, you know what? The way the Penguins did it last night, they did it their way. And I hate to take a line from the Pittsburgh Steelers, but when you talk about doing it their way, they did. They had stars that were out. They had tried the experiment with Fleury in the net. Did not work. They went to Murray, who has basically gotten to that point. So far, they're doing a fantastic job moving on to the Stanley Cup Finals against the San Jose Sharks, who look very formidable as well. When it comes to Crosby and what he's trying to do with the NHL, of course, he touched the trophy last night. The last time he did that in a Penguins uniform, they won the Stanley Cup. So if you believe in superstition, I don't know. But I can honestly tell you that Crosby, certainly one of those guys you have to look at as being a game changer from all aspects, from being on the ice, off the ice, and what he's able to do as a part of that locker room, and how he's been able to contribute to this Penguins team who's now playing for the Stanley Cup.
Now, since you mentioned Fleury, it seems like he's been kind of going back and forth. Is it possible that we can possibly see Fleury, protecting the net in any of these games? Maybe even the starting game?
You know what? It's hard for me to speak on what Sullivan wants to do. And clearly his decision was based on what he had seen from Fleury, not to take anything away from what Fleury has done, but you really have to give your all and give your decision-making process a real thorough look at when you're talking about starting Murray over Fleury. It's tough. It's a tough call. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes, but at the end of the day, you have to make that call. And I believe that it's working to their advantage. Whether you see Fleury or not behind the net in the Stanley Cup is beyond me. I would probably suspect you may see him a little bit in the game, but to be honest with you, because Fleury got in there, I don't know how much ice time you'll see Fleury have.
Wow. And, and I've seen from playoffs in the past where Fleury just looked like the man sometimes, and then sometimes it's always kind of been a thing of inconsistency when it comes to Fleury. So it's just kind of interesting to see how Sullivan is going to work this out, as far as the Stanley Cup is concerned, because this is big for Pittsburgh. I mean, I was in Pittsburgh for my birthday just a couple weeks ago, a week ago, and these guys they're jamming all the bars, all the restaurants are full. It's Pittsburgh Penguins everywhere. The HBK shirts are moving off the shelves. Everyone has one on, just walking around, people just stopping in their tracks just to watch the Pens play. So I think this would be a really huge thing for hockey, for the Pens to go ahead and hopefully they can, win the Stanley Cup against the Sharks.
Well, I can tell you this much right now. When the Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates all won their respective pennants in the same year, it was the City of Champions. And I believe, honestly, the way the Penguins are playing right now, there's no reason at all, unless they slack off during the Stanley Cup against the San Jose Sharks, that they cannot win this thing. They've been playing very consistently in the playoffs, and they've showed it time and time again. Now it's just, you can't let up. They had the resilience, they had the determination, and they showed it on ice. It was all for the world to see. Council Arena practically lost its hinges with that very much needed win last night against a very formidable team at the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's where it's at right now. I really think that the team can pull this off.
Right. Rudy Ray is speaking with us from the Rude Dog Show. You can check him out at therudedogshow.com. He's our viewers with AUMA Radio, Sold Out Sports. So now, speaking of which, when we talk about City of Champions, let's talk about those Pittsburgh Steelers. I've been hearing that there's been a little bit of chatter that people are predicting that the Steelers are the best team to watch in 2016. I mean, how do you feel about that? How do you think that the Steelers can obtain that expectation that they may be the best team in 2016 to 2017?
Well, to be honest with you, the way that they looked at it last year was that they can score 30 points with ease. And a lot of the time throughout the regular season, they were able to put that on display and even in a playoff game. However, that was with Martavis Bryant. Not to say that they're going to lose any steam without Bryant. However, you got a lot of players that really need to step up. You have the draft pick of DeMarcus Ayers, who has some eerie similarities to a one Antonio Brown. Of course, he's no longer dancing with the stars. He's now dancing on the field with his teammates, looking at making an impact, and his training has never ceased even during that show. So as far as what people are looking at, the Steelers don't really look at themselves as being an extremely high impact, high performance, over the top. It's not about a lot of frills, chills, and spills to the Steelers. It's about recognizing their talents, utilizing them efficiently, effectively, and really getting it done on the field despite the chatter surrounding it.
Right. So as we go on, we've been in OTAs with the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, and a lot of people have been asking questions about who they think the defensive captains will be. You know, as we've seen, this defense is still very, very young defense, and it's only pretty much gotten younger outside of, William Gay coming back and James Harrison coming back. So who would you peg as the defensive captains to, kind of rally these guys around on the defensive end of the ball?
Well, to be honest with you, you really have to look at Cam Hayward for a lot of reasons. This guy is a leader on the field, off the field. He's the sack leader last year, a really strong character guy. And don't forget, this draft was extremely defensive. When people were watching the draft, I know I was, when they picked up Artie Burns as your number one overall draft pick for the Steelers, people lost absolutely all hope, at least initially, thinking this can't be the guy, this can't be it. But you have to look at a player from beyond what he puts out on the field. This guy has put up monster numbers. He's matter of fact, he's a dad to his own siblings. He's been there effectively, or was raising him. And so that right there, sounds characteristically like what the Steelers have had in the past, as well as what they're looking for in the future. So from a secondary standpoint, Artie Burns could very well be the man. William Gay will put him under his wing to really show him what it's all about. You can be the smartest player in the world, but if you can't pick up the playbook and recognize what's being done, you could be lost for the season. They could end up trading you. Example, in fact, was Shaquille Richardson, as well as a couple other notable players. But you know what? The Steelers got it right this year, and I know fans listening right now will agree with me. They got it right with the secondary being picked first, quarterback, as well as Matatevich, who is just an impact guy, defensive lineman, every down back. Steelers will get it done. I believe they'll get it done more on the defensive side than the offensive side, but you know what? I could be wrong.
Who's the number one corner this year?
That's, man, in OTAs, no one's at that point yet. You have veterans like Willie Gay. Of course, when you lose Antoine Blake, and of course you're probably shaking your head thinking, okay, that's fine. You can lose Antoine Blake all you want. He got burnt more off the line of scrimmage and had, he had some interceptions here and there, but at this point, I have to stick with the veteran and William Gay, at least until it's proved otherwise.
Rudy Ray is the Rude Dog Show, therudedogshow.com, joining us here on AUMA Radio. Rudy, switching gears over to the Pittsburgh Pirates. We see the Pirates are tied for second best record in the National League with many teams. Yet fans still are kind of irritated or a little irritable for their downfalls against the Chicago Cubs or lack of being able to catch the Cubs, which they currently are 4.5 games back of right now. what can the Pirates do as far as perhaps maybe calling up some of their young guns over in the minors, or is it just growing pains and still early in the seasons, and Pirates fans should just kind of just relax for a little while?
Well, you know what? Looking at what the Pirates have done, and they've been very consistent. Just getting Jung Ho Kong back, you can really think and look at and say, you know what? Jung's been the cog to make everything work. And so far he has. He provides the fire. He provides the home runs. He's great in the dugout. And he's showing a lot of points. He's coming back from AAA, from Indy. And you have Cole's on fire. He's a pitcher. You want predominantly a pitcher to get as many ribbies, home runs, things of that. And he almost completed the cycle. In fact, yesterday and right now, actually right now, this second, they're facing off against the Texas Rangers in Texas. So I'd like to see them keep the momentum going despite where they're traveling to. Okay, fine, they had an 8-game homestand. Perfect. They won all of it. As far as catching the Cubs is concerned, they need to keep the momentum. The Cubs can't continue at the pace they are with just Arrieta. It's just not going to work that way. So they need to call up and keep the guys in the rotation. You have Feliz, who's looking relatively good, who was really good yesterday on the mound. And I still question, I really do question this, and I hope I'm wrong, is Jeff Locke, who has had more downs than ups. He did have a game saver 2 days ago. They swept the Diamondbacks. Now, not to take anything away from what the Diamondbacks have done up to this point, but when you get swept by the Pirates, who are fighting and jockeying to keep that second position, it's not taking their respective division in hand. You have to continue with the solid pitching rotation. You have to know when to pull these guys off. If these guys are throwing 89 pitches, 90 pitches, and they're losing velocity, they're losing control, if I was Turtle, you got to pull them. You got to get somebody ready to go. Mark Melancon has been the save king for the Pirates up to this point, but in some eventuality of it all, considering Melancon's getting older, you have to recognize who's going to be the next closer. You really have to find out. I don't foresee Locke being the long-term guy. I think, if anything, he's going to be out of the regular rotation and should be put in the relief starting lineup. I still have issues whether or not he's the man. But the Pirates need to get on fire. And you have to look at the batting. McCutcheon's he's not getting it done. Not to say he won't, but he's not getting it done up to this point. Runner score position or risk, as some people like to call it. He's not pulling a lot in. He's had a couple ribbies, he's had a couple doubles, but as far as being the home run guy they really need to have as part of that rotation, he's not. But everybody's taking up the slack, and that's okay, because you have guys like Jordy Mercer with doubles, J.So with doubles, Jung Ho Kong with home runs. These guys are getting it done. Even though McCutcheon's not quite there yet, I foresee him getting there with more practice, with finding his zone, and not chasing pitches. You've seen him a lot recently chasing those pitches. So when it comes to the Pirates, they need to stay consistent, and they need to do is sweep the Rangers to make a statement. They really need to sweep the Rangers. Rangers are obviously top of the AL. They really need to get it done and sweep them to make a statement to the rest of Major League Baseball to say, you know what, we're not going to take this line out. This isn't last year's Pirates. This is this year's Pirates.
Now, speaking of the Arizona Diamondbacks, which you mentioned earlier, Tony La Russa had a lot of choice words for not only Pirates players, managers, but also the broadcasting team. Do you think perhaps that could be a catalyst for the Pirates to maybe make a run, so to speak, because of Tony La Russa's kind of harsh words for the Pittsburgh Pirates, or do you think that the Pirates are just kind of just brushing that off? And do you think that people are going to take heed to the Pirates and their quote-unquote, intention for throwing up and high at players and kind of retaliate?
Well, La Russa should have known more than anybody else to not walk into the broadcast booth. I understand he needs to correct things, but be professional about it. You walk in, you're going to interrupt somebody like Greg Brown. Greg Brown made a point yesterday to state that, look, he doesn't understand why, if he wasn't speaking out of turn, he was speaking the exact information as it was relayed to him with complete accuracy. So if La Russa wants to jump in the booth and talk to players and say that's incorrect, or talk to Greg Brown or Root Sports or whoever, Do it after the game. Do it way after the game. Send a memo. Send a letter.
Will
Make
Larissa-
a phone call.
will
Do
Larissa-
something more professional.
Do you think Larissa will get fined for this, ultimately?
You know what? I don't think so. Larissa's been in this league a long time, and it's from a player to a coach to GM, no, not at all. Should he be reprimanded over it? I would say that's a possibility, and if you don't look at that as a possibility, and all you're doing is fooling yourself.
All right. Rudy Reyes, I appreciate you joining us here on AUMA Radio with Sold Out Sports, me and Bridget. I hope we hear from you soon, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks for having me on. I do appreciate it. And let's see if the Penguins can pull it off. Steelers and OTAs, let's see what they can do with what they have. And then the Pirates just need to keep rolling in their baseball season.
Yes, sir. We'll talk to you hopefully down the road as the Stanley Cup goes on. You have a good day, Rudy.
Sounds good. You as well. Take care. Thank you so much.
That was Rudy Reyes, the MadDogShow.com.
Yeah, he came, he's a great guest. Gave us a lot of good information about what's going on in Pirates. Some inside information that you might not be getting anywhere else but on Sold Out Sports at AUMARadio.com.
Exactly. You even got to talk a little bit of NHL, which we don't get a lot of around these parts here. We're going to take a little quick break. We're just winding the show down on AUMA Radio, Sold Out Sports. Iron and Bridget with you. We're going to talk a little bit more NFL as soon as we come back.
Why? You know, anybody that use somebody else to it's pimping. I'ma tell you what's on. Ain't nobody pimp ass. Hell, you know about pimping. Top notch, drop top, I'm on top dipping. Tricks jock trying to get it. Plus I can stopwatch that stopwatch you listen. Come back and position. Listen, Christian girl like Pete. Lick your sticky cup over here. You just piece of junk. Ain't so much ain't shit you could tell me. Ain't shit tell me, man, I'm on me like that. That R-A-W like Big Bang. It's a rap for that. And the dogs better adapt to rap. No, get back, pimp slap. I'm a Mac, no. Get the gas and get low. I've seen back, I'm leaning, big swing, come up like bleeding. Sound rolling, falling all into my style. Attracted to my ballin' like them honeybees to pollen. Blushing, rushing over like she just a dollar. Hand crushing, hand clutching down a cushion. Shit touching, hand clutching till I'm holding on it. You love that trick, she got you co-signing. Free with a car and a new place. Your pimpin' sippin', you a now, switching up this flip, trick on the lick. Even haters gotta love it. I won't give a fuck about the public. Keep my money like this hammer. Y'all can't touch this. On me and you lose a buck. That's with another words in teeth. Get your real busted. Easy, got your breezy, got your easy, on the easy. We make it look
I think we can run through it.
What's up, Dad? King Kong ain't got stitch on me. I'm the tail man on fire with this pimpology. I'm a B.I.M.P. rolling in the Humvee. Didn't rain down the lane, feeling real comfy. I eat extra lunch around lunch meat. I can buy the family center, but I'll let her swap me. I got my own clubs, new kicks, new whip, new whip. Turn the sense into true claps. I'm Brian Nichols with these riddles, trying to judge my spittles. Homicide coming triples when you ride bicycles. When I ride, glide, slide like I'm on icicle. Make these pros touch their nipples, make these pros on pickles, buck these pros till they cripple. Bustin' notes on these pros from their nose till it trickles. Books and temples, simple puts and pistols to your temples. Give me skin tissue, baby, come and get you. Leaning, we're leaning. I've seen back, I'm leaning, big swinging. Throw it up like bleeding. Make it
AUMA Radio, Sold Out Sports.
Welcome back.
We back. We wrapping up the show today. Appreciate Rudy Reyes from the Mad Dog.
Rude Dog.
Rude Dog. I don't know why I keep saying that. The RudeDog.com. Rudy Reyes called in talking about Pittsburgh Penguins going to the Stanley Cup. Go Penguins beat the Sharks because the Kings aren't there. So I need to feel good about that. Speaking of out west, is this whole Las Vegas Raiders thing really gonna happen? Is this still going on?
It's about to get real.
Is this really gonna happen?
Well, Al Davis's son, Mark Davis, has agreed in principle, handshake deal, vocal agreement that he wants to be in Vegas. He's very happy about the support he's receiving. The only thing is, will the rest of the owners support it?
Right, and I seen Dante Stallworth, former wide receiver, on the Twitter about 2 nights ago. Well, no, I think it was actually the day before yesterday. Getting blasted by fans about the whole. He's apparently against the whole idea of the Raiders moving to Las Vegas.
For what reason and why did anyone care?
Well, according to Dante Stallworth was saying that he knows a lot of players who spend a lot of time in Vegas, who do a lot of gambling in Vegas, who lose a lot of money in Vegas. So, according to Dante Stallworth, he said that any football team or professional sports team that moves to Las Vegas, he promised they will lose every game that they play. Now, that's a little eccentric of him to say that. He's kind of placing a little bit too much emphasis, on that or whatever. It's a little exaggeration. But I think he kind of made a point. Considering he is a former professional athlete. Now, at the same time, we got to consider the source. Dante Stallworth was kind of ushered out of the league after his little hit-and-run incident in Miami. And he's been, to his credit, he's come a very long way since that. He has spoke on it plenty of times and how Commissioner Roger Goodell, be it the devil that a lot of us think he is, actually, boosted him and kind of helped him clean up his act and clean up his image now. But according to Dante Stallworth, he is not a fan of the NFL moving to Las Vegas, moving the Raiders to Vegas. He doesn't think it's going to happen.
I have a question, and tell me does this make sense? Why does the team moving to Vegas stop or even start this from happening? Just because they're in Vegas doesn't mean the wise guys can't travel to where you are.
Right.
I mean, it's a small world. Why does the fact that this team is located in Vegas want to stop any of this activity from happening?
I think all sports leagues have
It don't make no
always,
sense.
it doesn't, but I think all sports leagues, there's always been this underlying fear of stationing a professional team in Las Vegas because you just don't want the accessibility to be so remote and so close, which again, to your point, doesn't make sense because it's only a freaking 4-hour drive from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. Yeah. If you really want to gamble or you really want to throw away all your money,
going to do it.
The NFL, the NBA.
Being in Vegas is not going to stop you.
Exactly. The NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, they're all in Arizona. They're all in Colorado. They're all in California, in Southern California. It's not hard to get to Vegas if you really want to get there and blow it all and risk everything. It's not hard. So
if the NFL really, truly cared about this, not have a pet peeve about it, if they really, truly cared about gambling, then they wouldn't have an injury report. I long time said that the only reason, let's call it.
Call it like it is.
Call it like it is. The only reason that there is for a Wednesday injury report, that to the point where they will fine teams for not reporting on it. Bill Belichick knows this.
Yeah.
What's the only reason for an injury report? Tell me. Why do you have to let the opponent know who's injured and who's not?
And why do you have to have it before a certain time?
Because the point spread needs to be set.
Oh, exactly.
The handicappers need to know who's going to play so they know how to handicap their game.
Sports love gambling, but they don't want it close to the casinos. I don't understand it. They make up a million excuses of why they don't want this. However, Mark Davis has one huge proponent in his back pocket, and that is Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is on board for this, and if Jerry Jones is on board, that means that likely Stan Kroenke will be on board, which means that we may actually see
That
the
Robert
Oakland
Kraft will be
Raiders.
against it.
Yeah.
That the Moonies will be against it. The Maras will be against it.
I think we're going to have a fight on our hands for Mark Davis to get the Oakland Raiders out to Las Vegas at the end of the day. It's going to get more entertaining as time passes and more deals and handshakes are made. And when we start talking about a stadium getting built, I think that's where things are going to get very serious. Now,
But thank you.
we're gonna wrap this up. Stay tuned to AUMA Radio, AUMARadio.com. We out here, man. We working. Shouts out to Rudy Reyes from the Mad Dog,
Rude Dog.
RudeDog.com, Rude Dog Show.
Listen to him online. Pick him up. Listen
Yep,
to
yep,
us
yep.
next Friday. We're
We're
gonna
gonna
try
be
to
back.
we're gonna be back. We're gonna try to be try to hopefully provide a home for your ears, for your sports talk. We're gonna try to grow this. So tell a friend. If you like what you hear, tell her. Tell someone.
If you don't, ain't nobody got time for that. Peace.
Peace.
The top of the top, no need for talking a lot. Bishop Lamont, they grade like it's rocking the spot. Nah, skip, just rocking the spot. Masterminds know the pros and the consequences, stacking the knot. We got a vision for a new transition. We in position to carry on tradition. You cooking crack in the kitchen. Cooking crack in the kitchen. Chocolate crumbs in the scheme of things. Honorable mentions. Not these motherfuckers out of condition. On television, on broadband, on sound stand.
I'm gonna try to prepare for the show. Yeah. Like the clips. My projects are really easy, so today was good because it's like the day before the day weekend. And everybody was leaving me alone. I got a lot of work done. But it gets tough.
The Phantom West is great.
Yeah, I'm playing the league. We got Russ.
With a 40-ounce bottle, he never trying to get
Okay, cool. I want to talk to my